Hey everybody, Riley from the Sleep Consultant here. I hope everyone is doing well. It's been a little while since I've made any live publications, podcasts, any video content for you guys. I've been out making a ton of stuff in the background. I'm really excited to showcase it to you guys. And on top of that, I'm very excited to introduce many amazing guests about sleep, better performance, and all these different areas of your life that you can start implementing to, in bite-sized pieces to really, live version you 2.0 in the best way that you can. And to start that, I have it's a huge honor today to introduce my guest, Roudy Nassif, and he is the founder of Liberate, which is the world's first 3-lens blue light management glasses company. And what's really important, and I'm sure you guys know a lot about this, but blue light is so important when it comes to our sleep. Light in general manages so many different processes inside of our body, whether it's in our internal clocks, our blood pressure, all these enzymatic processes inside of our body, literally, thousands upon tens of thousands each day. So it's really an honor to have Roudy Nassif on today to really help show you guys how important light is for your overall health, for your sleep, and everything else that goes along with it. So Roudy, welcome.
Hey, Roudy, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, it's truly an honor. And I look forward to what you're going to be sharing with our audience today. And I think, what you're going to be showing people is what they can do in a practical sense, but also teaching them the why of why light is so important for our lives. So I'll let you take it away. I know you have, some talking points that you want to engage with, and then we can have some dialogue in between. So yeah, whenever you're ready, my friend.
Yeah, totally. I mean, light is such a very important topic. Mm-hmm. And today we're dealing with all kinds of different pollutions, right? Like we have air pollution, we have water pollution, we have malnutrition, which are big problems that we are focused on solving in our society. And we all know that all of these things truly affect our sleep. But I always ask people, what about malillumination? Mm-hmm. Right? And just like junk food causes malnutrition deficiencies and can really disturb our sleep and our health. Mm-hmm. Junk light or an improper light diet will actually cause malillumination and is the cause of many complex detrimental effects on health and on sleep. And this is because light is the most powerful nutrient that sustains all biological life on Earth. And today, for the first time in our evolution, it has been almost 150 years where our light diet is extremely junk. Mm-hmm. And we are not getting exposed to a healthy, rich, full spectrum light, like the one we have evolved under for millions of years. Mm-hmm. And we are overexposed to junk artificial light that is not balanced and that is very deficient. Mm-hmm. So we also know that the eyes are the major entry points through which light enters our body and profoundly affect us. Mm-hmm. Now, when we talk about light, many people feel skeptical and think, how could a superficial thing that simply makes vision impossible shape and mold my life, right? Yeah. And this is because so many people are not aware that science first recognized that light entering our eyes was not only for the purpose of vision. Mm-hmm. In fact, vision was only a very small aspect to this light entering our eyes. Mm-hmm. And this light literally controls and regulates the functioning of our endocrine system and our nervous system, which are two very important systems that will tremendously affect our ability to sleep well. Now, when we talk about the nervous system, which is the autonomic nervous system, as the listeners may know, is the system that is continuously working on maintaining balance and homeostasis in our body. And it's the system through which we can wake up feeling optimally focused and alert so that we can live the first period of time of the day being productive and creative. And it's also the system through which we can rest, digest, and rejuvenate. And the balance of this system is working through the two subsystems, the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. And the sympathetic one is the system that is supporting us in action. It's the accelerator pedal, so to speak.
Yeah.
And this particular system is triggered and stimulated by light frequencies. For example, when we wake up first thing in the morning, we go outside to see the sunrise. The rising blue and green light in the sun stimulate our sympathetic nervous system in a healthy way. And then at this particular time, cortisol rises in a healthy way that starts increasing our blood pressure. Our heartbeat picks up a few more beats per minute, and we start having the alertness so that we can start our day, kickstart our day in the most productive way possible. Mm-hmm. Now, there are other frequencies of light that balance out this sympathetic arousal by activating the parasympathetic system. And when those two systems are activated in a balanced way, like how it happens when we are outside in sunlight, this seesaw, so to speak, of the autonomic nervous system will maintain an equilibrium and perfect balance between the two sides of the seesaw, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. Now, the problem that we are dealing with today is that we are exposed to light frequencies that we call junk. And this is because they peak at 455 nanometer, which is a narrow peak in blue light. That is not even full blue light. It's partly blue light and is not balanced with the other colors. And this is creating an overstimulation in the sympathetic nervous system, resulting in so much sympathetic arousal. And this sympathetic arousal is leading to feelings of anxiousness. We feel wired, we feel so stimulated at the wrong time of the day. And this literally sabotages our ability to sleep well, because if you get this sympathetic arousal at night or in the evening, when your system is actually designed to start winding down and prepare for a restful night's sleep, hormones like cortisol and adrenaline are going to start peaking. And melatonin cannot exist while those hormones are being secreted in the body. Things like growth hormones cannot exist when those stress hormones are peaking in the body at the wrong time of the day. So this will completely sabotage the cell's ability to clean themselves at night. Even though some people might think they are sleeping well, they're getting their 8 hours. Yeah. But what's happening at the subconscious cellular level, that their cells are not cleaning themselves from inflammation. Mm-hmm. And eventually, as this inflammation starts increasing and those cells are not being able to clean themselves, we start running into low energy levels, fogginess, fatigue, feeling drained, and so on.
Mm-hmm. And what have you noticed from the people that start to change these things within their lives? How long does it take normally before they start seeing results?
Well, it's absolutely miraculous, actually. And the first time I noticed this thing was through my own story, mm-hmm. because I lived most of my life dealing with depression, chronic fatigue, and feeling wired and stimulated at night, then waking up feeling tired and lacking the energy. And as I shared on your podcast, I was desperately looking for a solution to feel better. And I kept going from one holistic doctor to another, trying so many different diets, taking a lot of different supplements, doing a lot of different biohacks, meditation, physical exercise techniques for years, and diligently doing all these things. And while they helped me build a great foundation, I was still stuck with the same cycle of feeling super wired at night and extremely exhausted during the day. And as I shared, when I went to this journey on the farm, where I was camping in my tent for 6 weeks, I was exposed only to natural light during the day and fire and candlelight during the evening. Now, within 3 days, something miraculous happened to me.
3 days.
3 days. I went from feeling extremely foggy-headed, completely dysfunctional, unmotivated, not having a clear sense of what I want in my life, very disturbed by this cycle of feeling super wired at night and extremely exhausted in the day, not having the energy to direct it towards what I want in life, to starting to sleep shortly after the sunset for the first time in my life without making the effort. And not only this, waking up before the sunrise with no alarm clock whatsoever and having the most fresh, rejuvenating energy that I've ever felt in my life. Like when I was on the farm, to be honest, it was very emotional to me.
Yeah.
Because to experience this in 3 days after an attempt of doing a lot of things and failing again and again and again, it was extremely traumatic.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, comparing that to years of all those other things that you were trying, and within 3 days, light merely fixing a lot of these things, I mean, it's just miraculous. And the other people that you've worked with, assisting, who were probably in a similar boat to you, and I think a lot of people relate to your stories. And if people want to learn more about your story, they can check out the podcast. Should be airing in about a week's time, 2 weeks time from now. But I think your story is so inspiring because so many people are struggling like that. They go to their conventional medical doctors and they don't know where to turn because for them, the end game is more sleeping pills or more, whatever that medication is. But my question is, where's the end game to all that? And instead, if you can actually get to the root cause of what's this causing, in addition to living a better lifestyle, you just, it's multiple birds with one stone. I think you can be in a much better place that way.
Yes, definitely. See, getting a restful night's sleep on a consistent basis and waking up every morning feeling rested, energized, and focused doesn't happen by chance. Yeah. It happens by design. And when I say design, we are dealing with universal laws, which means the law of rhythm. And the law of rhythm is an extremely basic, simple rhythm that we all experience, and it's unescapable for us living on Earth. The day becomes night. And throughout all of our evolution, even for plants and animals, in order for us to adapt to this unescapable daily change in the environment, we developed an internal clock that sits in the center of the brain. And this clock informs our body about the time of the day. And it tells our body when to do what. What this clock is concerned about is efficiency and productivity, right? And when I say efficiency, it's the efficiency of the task that the body is performing. Because the body, for instance, throughout evolution, would not have been able to perform digestion at night when the sun is out. Because as a human being, you didn't have the chance to open the fridge in the kitchen and eat at 8 p.m. when it's pitch dark outside. Yeah. You've had to be resting, rejuvenating, and preparing your body to get utter rest so that you can wake up at dawn and go to hunt, right? So this thousands of years of evolution, so to speak, has developed this clock so that we are designed to be most active during the day. And this exemplify itself with the production of hormones like cortisol, serotonin, dopamine during the active working hours. And we are designed to rest, repair, and rejuvenate at night. And this exemplify itself with the production of melatonin and growth hormone at night. And when we start disturbing this very basic biological rhythm, we just start running into extremely complex effects. Again, you said it, the cause is utterly simple, yet the effects could get extremely complex.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you say for the people that, our biology today is backed by thousands upon thousands of years of evolution and, adapting to the environment? What do you say to the people that think they can overcome their environment, who are the sleep less to get ahead, pounding back more coffees, thinking that they can overcome their environment if they just maybe think a little bit harder, work a little bit harder? What are the kind of themes that you notice with those types of people?
I tell them that we live in a reality of cause and effects.
Yeah.
And that we are truly one with our environment. There's no such a thing of overcoming your environment. If anything, there's the intelligence of harmonizing with your environment, because if the cause is balanced, the effects are going to be balanced.
Yeah.
So if you expect to manifest something that is long lasting, that is sustainable, and manifestation is experiencing the results of something, and that something is the cause.
Yeah.
And within that cause is the wisdom of harmonizing with universal laws, because those laws are there. The law of gravity is there. And if you break the law of gravity, you're going to break yourself. The law of gravity is not concerned with you and is not going to take it personal.
Yeah.
The law of rhythm is as real as the law of gravity. And when you break the law of rhythm, when you start disturbing your exposure of light and dark cycles that are meant to reset all of your biological rhythm, breaking this law will break you.
Yeah, it really will. I think what you say is so true, and there's really no escaping it. As hard as, or as much as we try, and we might be able to, run on burning the candles from both ends, for a short period of time, but over time, those laws of the universe will catch up with us, and, we'll be worse than where we first started. Shifting gears to more practical things you can do. So what does that kind of look like? People know that light's super important to them, but let's say with their morning routine, what does that kind of look like all the way up until before they go to bed?
Yeah, that's a great question. There are really simple things that we can do today in order to truly elevate our light environment to a whole new level, so that we can start experiencing true deep sleep, better energy and focus, and more productivity. And the beauty about those steps is that if you do them right, and if you commit yourself to them, they're going to show true, beautiful results in your life. And it's not going to take so much time. Okay, so step number one, waking up in the morning, going outside and facing east. And what I mean by this is facing sunrise and being present during that time. Now, so many of us are completely alienated from our environment that we don't even know where the sun rises from and where it sets from. So the number one thing you could start doing today is get curious about your environment and start understanding where the sun is rising from. Where is your east? And where is a good location that you could go to in the morning to actually witness this beautiful unfolding of the sunrise? Okay, so this could also, many people will bring the argument that, well, I live in an area where it's often cloudy and the sun is not there. And what I want to remind you is the sun is there. It's behind the clouds.
Yeah.
It's never not there.
Yeah.
So our circadian system can sum up photons over time, which means that all you need to do is be outside for more time when it's extremely cloudy or dark. For instance, if it's a super light, blue sky, clear day, from a circadian perspective, you'll probably need around 15 minutes to reset your circadian clock.
Okay.
But if it's a super dark day, you'll probably need 40 to 45 minutes.
Okay. Got it.
Now, step number two is familiarize yourself with the light in your environment. And what I mean by this is there are different frequencies of light that have different effects on our biology. I'm going to give an example of this that people could relate to. The entire volume of the blood, for instance, that is pumped by the heart. It circulates through our eyes every 2 hours. And we now know that light entering our eyes stimulate the blood, and it enhances the absorption of the nutrients into our cells.
Interesting.
So every vitamin, every mineral that we are getting from food, it actually has a maximum wavelength absorption characteristic. Now, what does that mean? It means that this food that we ingest, it needs to be catalyzed by a specific frequency of light in order to be absorbed and metabolized.
Got it.
So not only light is really setting every rhythm about our sleep and waking cycle, but it's also acting as the spark that is igniting the process of metabolism and enabling us to absorb food much more efficiently.
Fascinating.
Now, why do I say this? I say this because there are invisible frequencies of light, such as UVA and UVB, that play an absolutely essential role in this phenomenon. And most people today are extremely scared from exposing themselves to UV light. Now, evidence is showing that UV is an absolutely essential frequency that actually does so many different things. I'm not going to go into all the effects that UV do because that will require another hour of talking and digging into those effects. But I invite people to download the Circadian app or an app called D-Minder. And what this app does, it actually starts teaching you about your environment, because where you are really right now in Canada, the UV index is different from where I am in Mexico. And the rise of UVA and UVB throughout the day happens at different times from the rise of UVA and UVB where I am right now in Mexico. And why is that important? Because as I mentioned, those light frequencies are extremely important and we don't want to miss them. And when the light shines, it happens in an orderly sequential manner. So let's say the sun is rising, blue and green light frequencies are inclining. About an hour or so, depending where you live on Earth, UVA starts rising. Now, I want to give an example for people so that they can make sense of why is that important. When the sun rises in the morning, the inclining blue and green light frequency stimulates a hunger hormone called ghrelin, which will increase your desire to eat. And that's great in the morning because you're going to have a healthy hunger level. Okay. But about an hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on where you are, UVA show up in the environment. And this UVA will stimulate the production of a protein called melanocyte producing hormones. And one of the things that those peptides do when they connect to the receptors, other than helping you tan and protecting your skin from burning, they will also decrease your desire to eat.
Interesting.
So you'll be able to control your hunger. Now, what happens in our modern world is that people are chronically exposed to blue light, which is increasing their ghrelin, the hunger hormone, depleting their leptin, the hormone that tells your brain that you're feeling full. But not only this, they are never exposed to the UVA that will produce those peptides that will suppress your desire to eat.
Wow. Flips everything upside down, doesn't it?
Totally. And the big problem is when this happens at night, because at night there's no blue light whatsoever. So if you are exposed at night to blue light and your ghrelin is speaking, you're going to be opening the fridge and having carb and sugar craving uncontrollably. And this will happen at a subconscious level, which means no matter how much top-down control you're trying to do, and no matter how much mindset you're involved in, if your subconscious program is triggered in the wrong way biologically, it's going to create so much strain and resistance. And you're going to find yourself in the kitchen eating, and you're going to end up dealing with guilt and shame and feelings that are extremely destructive for our evolution.
Absolutely. And that's why too, people think losing weight is such a big task, having to go to the gym. But if we just implement these things that are so simple anyway, we have human growth, human HGH, release in the middle of the night, all these different things, repair mechanisms on our body, metabolism, our basal metabolism will be higher throughout the day, all just from light. If we can, regulate our sleep and our waking time hours and our internal clock, everything just gets better naturally. And it's not like you have to make these crazy changes of driving to the gym, drastically changing your diet and everything. If we're sleeping anyway, why not maximize it?
Yes, totally. And I want to tie this to sleep as well, because I'm talking about UVA, and I'm going to reformulate those steps so that people could have an understanding of them, because we're probably going to be talking about different things as I mentioned those steps. But also the light energy from UVA goes into the eyes, and it helps transform or catalyze the amino acid tryptophan into serotonin and melatonin. Okay, so take great note of this. Melatonin, the hormone of darkness, is produced in the eyes in morning sunlight through the energy that is provided by UVA light, and will only be released from the pineal gland at night when the eyes perceive the absence of blue and green light. And this is why it's important to block light at night, so that melatonin is released into the blood and start signaling to all of the millions of cells in our bodies that it's time to rejuvenate and repair.
Got it.
Okay, so step number 3. I just want to say one more thing about step number 2 is that download this app and start understanding when UVA rises, when UVB rises, and commit to yourself at least 5 minutes, a window of time where you go outside and expose yourself to the rising of UVA and the rising of UVB.
What was the name of that app again, and how did you spell it?
Circadian app is one. And the second one is D-Minder, D-M-I-N-D-E-R.
Okay, got it. We'll definitely put that down in the comments below for people to access.
Awesome. So step number 3, you did your journey outside, you witnessed the rising sun, you witnessed the rise of UVA and UVB. Anytime you go indoors and you're working in front of your digital devices and under artificial lights, we highly recommend putting high quality circadian light therapy glasses like the ones we produce for daytime use. And those are very special because they actually do not block blue light, unlike so many blue light blocking glasses in the market. But they actually reduce the sharpness of the 455 nanometer frequency, and they balance it out with the yellow and green. And I guess it would be best if I share my screen and show a slide, because it would be much easier for people. So,
perfect. And those glasses that you're suggesting, and it's really interesting because, a lot of the market is blue light blocking, like blue light is this evil thing, which it is in a lot of ways, but we're just trying to cut it out completely. Whereas what you're saying is we don't want to take it to the extreme. We want to take a much more balanced approach. So what you're doing at Liberate is really providing that for people so they can get that whole entire light spectrum to get all those benefits that their body needs throughout the day.
Yes, totally. We don't want to be blocking blue light during the day, because blue light is extremely important to reset our circadian rhythm, to elevate our mood. However, the problem is that those screens emit a blue light that is not balanced, as we will see right now in the graph.
Okay.
So, can you see my screen?
I can, yeah.
Sorry. Is it clear enough?
It is, yeah.
So that's the spectral curve emitted by LED bulbs and screen. And as you can see, it peaks at 455 nanometers. So this is like nasty, narrow band blue light. And it's not even all of the blue, because as you can see, from 400 to 420, and even over here, there's this strong trough. There's not much blue in those areas.
Okay.
And when we expose ourselves to this blue that is not balanced with the orange, yellow, and reds over here, it starts creating a lot of inflammation and mitochondrial dysfunction, because this blue by itself is very degenerative, and it increases the production of reactive molecules in the eye and in the mitochondria. And those are extremely nasty, especially when we are talking about the mitochondrial DNA, which is much more vulnerable than the genetic DNA, which could be wrapped by all these proteins inside the nucleus.
Absolutely.
So,
And the mitochondria being, sorry to cut you off, just the mitochondria being the powerhouse, the thing that gives us energy, where it goes through the Krebs cycle to create 1 ATP. So we're able to, just have energy throughout the day. And that's what, this is important for us to think well, for us to perform on, an athletic level, and just, feel great throughout the day.
yes. And I'll add to this that mitochondria not only produce energy, but also produces metabolic water, which is used by all of our organs and systems for metabolic function. So you could think digestion, you could even think healing requires energy and metabolic water. Even when we are sleeping, we are using the metabolic water in order to repair and rejuvenate.
Very important.
Okay, so I'm going to show a slide of okay, so this is the daytime glasses. So as you can see, they narrow down this peak, and it's designed to make it more balanced and proportionate with the green, yellow, and orange, so that we're getting much more balanced spectrum of light into our eyes. And at the same time, in this step, we recommend people to always open the windows, because most windows nowadays filter out 100% of the infrared light that is anti-inflammatory from sunlight. And they also distort the frequencies that are coming from the sun. So anytime we can open the windows while we're in the car or in the office, that would be really great.
Got it. Okay.
Step number 4 is understanding when the sun is setting and making a commitment to be outside during that time for at least 10 to 15 minutes, because those light frequencies will act as very important information for our nervous system to start winding down.
For sure.
But not only this, it will give the right messages to every part of the body to prepare for a restful night's sleep. And this will make all the difference between a restful night's sleep or shallow, deep sleep that is not deeply rejuvenated.
Interesting. So for people who can't sleep well, or they're waking up throughout the night and they can't get, the second half of our sleep, which is more REM sleep dominant, this may be a factor as to why. So, definitely take this into consideration.
Yes. And it's gonna show results very quickly. I've dealt with so many insomniac, and they couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe that after all of these years, changing their light diet was magical in ways that it helped them transform their insomnia in 3 to 4 days.
Yeah, I think that's so incredible for somebody who suffered sometimes for decades, and just not knowing where to turn. And, it's something as basic as light was the answer to all of their misery before. It's pretty profound. And I completely agree with you. The reaction you see from some people of just changing their light and optimizing that throughout the day for them transform sleep. And then it's just an upward spiral that goes into just better sleep, better version of yourself, relationships, more money in your business, it just goes on and on.
Totally. It extends into every aspect of your life.
Yeah.
So this is the evening glasses, which I have here. And those are designed actually, this will be, which step are we, 4 or 5?
We're going on to 5 now.
Okay, so this would be step number 5. After you witness the sunset, you come back home. And for most of us, we are exposed to the second sun from devices, LED bulbs, and screen. And most people think of artificial light as coming from their screen only, whereas truth is artificial light is coming from any source of artificial light bulb, in the kitchen, in the bathroom, in the mall, down in the street. Yeah. So after the sunset, wherever you are, whether you're in the mall, whether you're driving, whether you're in the kitchen preparing dinner, that's when you would want to be wearing your Viva Rays evening glasses. And those, as you can see, they block all of the blue and only the highest frequency green, so that you could start winding down, yet have enough energy to run your evening task without feeling very sleepy. And those are designed to mimic the color temperature of the fire at 1800 kelvins. Mm-hmm. Because we all know how we feel around the fire, right? Yeah. We feel relaxed.
Yeah.
Yet we have enough energy to dance with our friends, to cook, and to socialize.
Exactly. Living just like our ancestors once did.
And lastly, last step is about an hour before bed, when you're completely ready to do nothing and to give yourself that love and that time to wind down completely and prepare for a restful night's sleep. You switch into the Vivare's nighttime classes, which I have here. And those block all of the blue, all of the green, and they decrease the brightness by 20 times.
Wow.
Now, why decreasing the brightness by 20 times? Because all of the circadian literature is showing that bright light of any color disrupts our sleep, suppresses our melatonin, and shifts our sleep in the wrong direction.
Got it.
So by putting these classes, it's similar to the end of the bonfire, when the wood turns into amber coil. And by this time, when your brain have the impression that it's completely dark, it start preparing you by secreting all of the hormones and neurotransmitters that are necessary for you to get a rejuvenated night's sleep.
Fascinating.
So that would be it. 7 steps. If I want to add one more step, is make sure that you're sleeping in a room that is pitch dark. And if you cannot have a control over your environment and making the room really, really dark, then I would recommend the Vivare's blackout organic cotton mask.
Okay.
And make sure you plug out the Wi-Fi, you turn off your phone, and you don't sleep next to electronics, because all of the phones and the Wi-Fi's are actually light wave frequencies in the microwave range that could be extremely detrimental for our melatonin production, because the pineal gland, as a light meter, could also sense those non-native electromagnetic frequencies, and it will start disturbing its ability to optimally produce melatonin.
Fascinating. It's always a thing that we can't see that is the most harmful to us, which is the funny part about it, right? It's sometimes what's not obvious, but obvious at the same time. So I'm so happy you can make sense of all this for people. If they want to hear and learn more about you, where can they visit?
So to learn more about us, you can visit www.vivarace.com. And we have a phenomenal e-booklet for free on our website called Light, the Key to Mastering Your Sleep and Energy. And I always recommend it to people because it's such an easy read, and it has all of the action steps that you can take today in order to elevate your light and start experiencing better sleep and energy.
Amazing. And pretty much it's sort of the spark notes of everything you talked about today, of each step that they can do throughout the day and throughout the night so they can maximize all those things.
Yes, I mean, there are more steps. Absolutely. But I don't want to overwhelm people.
Exactly.
And I think that the e-booklet also cover a lot of other steps that I haven't mentioned, and people could take their time, sit with the information, and digest them much better. But for now, if you start applying those 8 steps, you're going to be mind blown by the results that are going to manifest in every aspect of your life.
Love it, Roudy. And we'll put all those links down below. So thank you so much for your time today. I always learn so much from you each time we talk, and I'm sure our listeners did as well. So thank you so much, and we'll see you again next time.
Pleasure, brother.
Bye. See you.